Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Witiko Ndola. I'm a 3D character artist and animator, and this is going to be a little bit of a different I'm going to try to do like a walk cycle walkthrough, how I go about animating my walk cycles and what I tend to keep in mind when I'm animating it. And my apologies, this is my first time making a tutorial video, so I think what I'll do is I was gonna try speeding up a couple of things here and there, but then I think what I just do is I just kind of like go into I just go into like animating, but then a few things I want to make clear. This is not a tutorial for experts or anything like that. This is just something that's gonna help you get started. Things to keep in mind. When you're animating your walk cycle. Nothing more. Nothing less. Just a few things that I like to keep in mind. Few things that I like to do, and if you can apply this to your walk cycles later down the line, I'm pretty sure that they can actually help you out a lot, because there's a couple of mistakes I used to make when I was animating walk cycles back in the day, and I kind of made them a little more janky. And we're also going to get into the graph editor just a little bit. So that's the purpose of this video. Animate a walk cycle and how you can fix certain things that you can't really hand animate. Just to like give you a little pointers, because what I used to do is like I was very scared of the graph editor, and sometimes it's still pretty confusing, but then I'll just show you some ways that you can clear things up. And one of the ways to do that is actually what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing is I'm getting rid of like unnecessary joints, things that I know that I won't hand animate, things that will just get in the way. It's just visual clutter. So that's basically what I'm doing at this point, just hiding some tweakers, which, come to think about, I could have probably just turned those off within the rig menu, but then I completely forgot about that because I just started recording. Now that's the first thing you actually want to do before you animate anything. Whatever scene you're about to animate, be it a walk cycle, be it maybe just an acting scene or something, make sure that you have your character in a very neutral pose, which is what I'm going to do in a few minutes here. Actually, in a couple of seconds, I'm going to try to get him in a very neutral pose. So I'm going to lower those arms, his shoulders, things of that nature, and just try to give him in a more relaxed position. So I mess around with his fingers, his thumb, his palm, all that actually helps when you're animating the walk cycle a little bit. Now what I'm gonna do is I'll make sure that as I'm animating here, as I'm going into the key poses, there'll be 5 key poses that will animate. 5 key poses are like the storytelling poses, the most important poses, things that maybe, let's say if you are doing 2D animation, if you just drew, people will know what, okay, this person is walking. So we have 5 key poses, and we'll animate them between frame 0 and frame 12. We'll just animate one side and then mirror everything onto the other side. So that's what I'm doing over here. I have my cursor, I have my tracker set to 0, and then this is where I start posing the animation. And this is the first pose. It's known as the contact pose. And one thing to keep in mind when you're animating the contact pose is from here is this pose, the first pose we will have here on frame 0 is going to be mirrored onto frame 12 for the first loop, for the first side of the loop. So what I'm doing here is I'm twisting the pelvis, and everything about walk cycle is everything is countering each other. If the pelvis is twisting right, the torso is twisting left. And bring those feet a little closer together as well. And bring them a little closer together. Raise that foot up. Twist that toe, and this is the moment where you want to have overlaps, overlap certain things. For example, here when I bring the arms out, adjust the shoulders a little bit, twist the back. Don't be afraid to because one thing is when people animate, they just want to move one thing but not have everything react to it. as you're animating walk cycle, like as the feet are moving, the hands are just reacting. So at times it shouldn't move exactly with the torso. So over here you might want to give those wrists a bit of an overshoot with the hands. So just twist the wrist out just a little bit, just a little bit more. It's not something that people do actually when they're walking, but then the key one thing about animation is you want to exaggerate certain poses, things that maybe people won't notice as animation is playing, but they'll feel it good. Okay, this thing feels fluid. So it's things like that. At times overshoot certain things. Could be the wrists, because what the arms are doing is they're reacting to the movement of the torso. So there might be like a delay with how when the arms drop and things of that nature. And here I am twisting the torso again forward, and yep, pretty much it's doing the first pose. So take your time with the poses, don't try to rush it. Take your time, twist the torso, pelvis, and everything. I zoomed out, and then I keyframed it. And then what you want to do is you want to control that. I'm gonna copy that frame 0, make sure that your keyframes are highlighted, Control C, and then go to frame 12 and then Control Shift V to mirror the pose. There you go. So that's what can happen. So this is like we'll only animate one half of the character, and the rest will be done with the same process of mirroring. Now usually when I animate, I tend to animate in in Bezier, but to follow industry standards, make sure that you change your keyframes down to constant. So select the keyframes, press T, and select constant, as what I did previously, and then come back. Now we're gonna go on to the next pose. This is like the down pose. This is where the character's body goes down, and this is the lowest point of the walk cycle. So yeah. I forgot to lift up the heel from the first pose. What I'll do is I'll go back to it, keyframe that, and then mirror that onto frame 12, just like so. And then we'll come over to frame 3. We'll drop the center of gravity down. I'll cancel the rotation there and the rotation on the toes, and push this further back, a little bit further back, and tilt it up a little bit more. But drop that center of gravity. And here's the thing that people tend to here's something that I tend to one of the mistakes I made when I was animating walk cycles back in the day. I'd forget everything else. I'd just focus on the center of gravity, feet and hands, but then I wouldn't touch the torso. I wouldn't touch the anything else. And as you can see here on this pose, what I'm doing is I'm overshooting the arms. Again, I'm kind of pushing them like a little bit forward whilst twisting the torso backwards. You get, so it just kind of has this kind of it just has a delay that, because like I said, the arms are reacting to how the torso is moving. That's pretty much it. And yeah, so don't forget to keyframe certain things. If you touch the pelvis there for the first time, rotating it one way, start rotating it back slightly when onto the next pose. So there we go. This is the lowest that the center of gravity is going to be. So you've dropped it down, and keyframe that. So it's going to come down, but the arms are still going up. They haven't started going down yet. Now frame 6. This is known as the passing pose. This is where the center of gravity starts coming up. So yeah, push that back, cancel the rotation on the heel, and you can bring that foot forward, start bringing forward, and bend the toe slightly, just to give it that cartoony look. And that's the difference between realistic and between, I'd say, hand framed animation and motion capture. Is there's that exaggeration to it. That's why at times when you have mocap data, certain people just come in and then just push the poses more. So at times just push certain things. Even if you're animating a realistic character, feel free to just push certain aspects of it. It kind of gives the animation a little more character. So like I said, don't forget that, because at first I also touched the shoulders. So come back and rotate the shoulders backwards as the arms are moving backwards as well. Because in this position, it's kind of like the arms are going to come down to their waist, both the left and the right as well. As they're coming back, they kind of meet. So as the legs are passing each other, so are the arms. That's why it's called the passing position. This is not the highest point that the center of gravity is going to be. It's going to be our next pose. So let's lower that as well. As you can see, I'm just canceling rotations here. I'm just canceling rotations and then just trying to match the pose. I think I'll put the poses up on screen of the images that I'm using. And yeah, so bring that down. Yeah, and what you can do here is that as the arms are coming in, you can have the wrists drag the hand out like even more. So like as you're as just give like a sense of drag. So I cancel the rotation here as well. I twist it a little forward. I don't think I should have done this part of it. I don't know why. I don't know what I was trying to. I don't know what I was trying to do over there. But then make sure that it shouldn't be completely. The torso rotation shouldn't be completely cancelled. It should be favoring the one arm at least. The arm that's the left arm in this case. It should be favoring that. So just twist it a little bit more like that. Keyframe that. And then now we have 4 poses. 4 poses in. Now one more. The up pose on frame 9. This is like the highest. This is where the highest. This is where the center of gravity is going to be the highest. Like this is where the body is going to be up. So push the left foot forward, or depending on which side you like start animating from, be it left or right, depends on how you chose to animate this. So yes, let's push the pelvis forward. Okay, one thing about the walk cycle that people need to understand is that I'll go back and redo this part, but then it's kind of like you're just shifting your weight really left, right, at times forward. There's a bit of forward motion as you're putting your your leading foot is kind of like you're also pushing your thing body a little bit forward, but it's kind of hard to know. It's kind of hard to notice, but then you like do it subtly. I think one thing you want to do when you want to try out an animation, even maybe like a breathing animation, try exaggerating your own movements. Like exaggerate your like breathing rates, like going. You notice that as your chest goes up, your head goes down. It's kind of like there's this lag, you know. Things which you do subtly, but then we start noticing as you exaggerate the poses by yourself, or rather exaggerate an action by yourself, you see that there's definitely like a difference. There's like a big difference. Or that you start noticing how things lag when you start, because you're still moving naturally. Like they'll move how they're supposed to move, but then you've just exaggerated everything. So yeah, in this case here, this is like, these are all the poses that you'll need. This is enough for 3D, but then if it was 2D, the animation will look a little bit more Spider-Verse, a little bit more choppy, especially with the keyframes so far apart. But this is pretty much what you, this is like one side of the walk cycle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste our keyframes. Actually, we're going to mirror them same way we did the first contact pose in the beginning. So here, I think I was trying to check out like how the motion is going in the front. There's a little too much, but then I'll show you how to clean that up in the graph editor. Like, you know, this over exaggerated poses and stuff. Okay, now here's another thing about walk cycle. As your right foot is pushing, as it starts pushing, okay, as you're coming from the previous pose, your like weight is shifting to one side, and the dominant foot, or the foot that's pushing, is going to push it to the opposite side. So if it's your right foot, it's going to push it to the left. So in this case, you have the right foot pushing it to the left. So, and it's kind of like being caught by the left and then pushing it back to the right. Something like that. So like, don't forget that side to side motion, right? That side to side motion. There's like a bit of side to side motion. Like just try standing up and then walking, and you notice that, you know, your weight shifts, or rather one foot pushes the body in the opposite direction, and then the other one catches it and then pushes it back the other side. So that's one thing that can also like, help improve the walk cycle. Now what I did there was I copied the keyframes from frame 0 to 12, Control C and then Control Shift V once the cursor was on 12 to mirror the keyframes onto the other side, and then there we have a full walk cycle, which is pretty janky at the moment, and we're still in stepped. But I'll show you how to clean that up a little bit in the graph editor. Although this is like real time, so this is how long it took me to animate this. But then I just want you to take the concepts, and I hope I'm being clear enough. If not, please forgive me. And then I just changed it from constant to Bezier, and now we have the smoother. Now we've had like the PC filling the missing keyframes. Now, as you can start noticing that, you know, okay, there's some errors here. Maybe it's that Y location with the torso is it's exaggerated, like it's too much, like, you know, it's distracting. So what we're going to do is we're going to the graph editor here, take your keypad and press Control Tab to switch between the keyframe or the dope sheet to the graph editor. Now what you're going to have to do is, I know there's a lot of like curves in, you're going to want to isolate, make sure that you highlight the graph you want and what it controls, like the Y location in this case. So you press it, highlight it, and then press Shift H to isolate it, and then just work on that. What you want, okay, when they say that they're cleaning up an animation, they just want to clean up these curves, you know, these curves. Like for example, in this location thing, it's just controlling the torso, forward and back along the y-axis. That's pretty much it. But then if you highlight the graph and then scale down on the y, it kind of reduces that exaggeration, rather the amplitude of it. That's the best way I can put it. So if you just take a curve and then scale it down, it just reduces that action significantly. It reduces the amplitude of it. That's the best way I can put it. So to go from there with the y location, I went down to the z location as again. I just pressed the I icon on the z and then turned off on the y. And there you go again. So this is our z. I kind of pushed the upwards a little bit up, like on both ends of the cycle, so that I could at least, because I just want like some more bounce to it, and that's what I did. So this is basically what cleaning up your curves looks like. It's just identifying the kinks, because at times, okay, so far these graphs have been like pretty okay, but then there's one. So but then this comes with like time. You have to like, you know, notice, okay, something is wrong, maybe in the x location of this and in the y location of that. And certain times, maybe let's say you don't even have to bother with like maybe a location. You'd be like, because for example the arms, we didn't like translate them, we just rotate them, so you just go straight to the rotation curves, not the location ones. So just, yeah, like for example here on the torso, I went to the z quaternion rotation and then smoothed out that graph just like so. It's because we don't want any kinks in there. At times you might find that maybe there's like a hold as you're animating because you forgot to move the torso, which is not what we want. We just want the torso to keep rotating, to keep twisting. So like left, right, so just like that. So you can just, that's what it means to just, you know, clean up your graph. It's really not, it's not that extravagant. It's nothing deeper than just cleaning up your inner curves. And with practice, it becomes easier to be like, well, okay, this is the curve I'm looking for. I think the kink is happening here. It's happening with this rotation. It's happening with this curve. So let me go there and then just smooth that out. As you can see here, maybe I feel like it was a little too exaggerated. So I went highlighted all the keyframes by pressing A and then scaled it down on the Y. There we go. And I came down to the pelvis. I did the same thing with that. Went straight to the Z quaternion rotation. I found out that, you know, and then I don't think I read this right, but then just sit down and then look at the curves and see how they rotate. But okay, maybe let me clean up this way, that way. Maybe you want a little bit of maybe you want a little bit more of a certain twist. So you can just come to your curves and then identify what you want to do with that. And I seriously hope I'm making sense here. But yeah, so like every curve controls a certain feature of the bone. Could be the rotation, could be the location. But then, like I said, we're not translating everything. Some bones were rotating, some bones were translating, maybe like moving them between, like, you know, changing their locations and stuff, which is okay, because at times there's certain times where you be like, okay, this bone is meant to rotate, but then if we maybe like give it a certain look, maybe if you want to like exaggerate this this walk cycle, you maybe even at times push the torso up so that it has this like lagging motion as the body is going down, just exaggerating, pushing the poses, things of that nature. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then later on I go on to, like, you know, to clean up the X location of the center of gravity, or the, yeah, of the main control. Let me say that torso, not torso, center of gravity. Let me just use the center of gravity because okay. And then I go, and then as you can see, like the more we keep going, the more we're cleaning up. It's like the more we start cleaning up curves, the easier, rather the smoother the animation becomes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think here, like, I just went back on the X location to see, like, you know, that left right movement, left right, and that's basically what it means to use the graph editor. But then like I said, more experienced, advanced animators, people who've been doing this a long time, have like their own they have like a different understanding of it and use it more effectively. Whereas for me, this is like the best I can do. I just want to share, like, you know, what it means to clean up like a graph editor, depending on the action. And at times they can get more complicated and convoluted, but then there's just a matter of, like, you know, practice. Just some animations are more complex than some, but then at times you don't always need the graph editor. It's good practice, but then at times if you can just eyeball it at the end of the day, as long as the animation looks good. Because there's certain actions I'm like, well, okay, I think I'd rather just eyeball this one. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot more that could have been done to improve this thing. Maybe I'll improve it more before I post the video. But as you can see, the feet are kind of sliding. We could have cleaned that up too, but I didn't do that. But yeah, and the walk is a tad bit exaggerated, like, because I'm just trying to push everything. I think I went back further to just clean up to just exaggerate the twisting motion of the torso as well a little later down the line. But yeah, I think this is like this is my first walkthrough tutorial. I hope I think I'm well aware that I'm definitely liking a couple of things, but I'll definitely try my best to improve and do better for more tutorials down the line. But this is like this is the easiest part of the walk cycle. It's just you animate everything on one side and then mirror everything, and there you have your walk cycle. And it's good practice. Don't neglect walk cycles. Walk cycles, one cycles, as this can help you when animating, because you learn how to keep track of a lot of things. So always keep track of what you're moving, the torso, the pelvis. Keep track of it. Don't just animate on the first keyframe and then forget about it as you go. That's when you have like a lot of kinks and janks just going. You find that maybe there's some everything else is smooth, but then your chest is snapping, and it's just it's messed up at the end of the day. And it can give you headaches. But then the more you keep track of what you're doing to the bones, the easier it is to clean up the graph. There'll be less holds in between keyframes, and it becomes easier to spot in the animation. So yeah, so just make sure that your controls are clean. Any control that you won't need in the animation, you can hide that. Just hide it. Yeah, that's all for this video. That's all for this tutorial. I'll walk through. Let me just say that because I don't think I'll have Albedo coming soon. Albedo from Overlord. That's my next video, character creation video. That's what I'll be doing most of, but every now and then I will try to make a tutorial on something that and I know this isn't like the best thing that I could do, but then I'll definitely try again sometime later. I'll try again to come back and maybe explain once I get more experience on how to make a proper tutorial and walkthrough. Right now I just feel like I had to I made many attempts, but none was successful, and I think this is the closest one like I got. And yeah, I promise my walk cycles tend to look a little bit better, but yeah, I think I was just a little nervous when trying to make this one, but no excuses. I'll definitely clean it up so that for the final render I'll spend some time on it. I'll clean up a little bit more, and yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this. It's not the best walk cycle, but then I hope I hit every point I wanted to hit. And yeah, have a good day, guys. Share the video, like, subscribe to the channel, and if you're not into this, I'll link a description of how I created Yuji Itadori down in the description of how I sculpted him, because yeah, he helped me out with this. And thank you very much. Have a good day. Peace. Alright guys, I think upon further consideration, I think the best thing I can do is just show how I clean up the animation a little bit, because that part was just a little bit too janky. But then I just wanted to get my thoughts across. So what I did was I did the 4 final frames, or the 4 final poses, but then I forgot that I had to remove the cyclic modifier. So I came back, Control Tab to get to the graph editor, Shift E, clear cyclic, and then I came back to and then Control Tab action editor. I took out the last 4 poses. I just deleted those so that I'll just work on one half of the character animation. I'm like one half of the character. So this is it. I just cropped back the thing to like frame 12, from 0 to 12, and then I came back to that first pose. Then I rotated and then I shifted it on the X location to the left. to the left from my view, but then to the right of the character. And then I mirrored that onto the final frame. That's gonna cycle through of the next side. I mirrored that. So then yeah, I came back, went back to the graph editor, and I isolated the X location curve. If I'm correct, yeah, X location, and it was pretty much a good curve. So it was basically going left, right. So yeah, there's like a translation in the torso, but then I was like, it's still janky. Why is it janky? So I just kind of scaled that down a little bit just so that it's more subtle. And from the X location, I think I went straight to the... Okay, what the hell was I doing here? Okay, I think I wanted to see the whole rotation of like how the animation was like working. So I was like, there was still some pretty bad jank there. So I was like, okay, now what do I do next? So after playing for a little while, control tab. Okay, I think this part I just went, okay, I had to clean something up, so I just started going on like random things. So just follow with me here. This is the torso control. I want to check the X location, but then it's flat. I didn't have any transitions there. And then I went to the Y location and the Y quaternion rotation, and there was a hold there, so I just smoothed that curve out. I brought the frame down and back to frame 6 just to give it like a nice little curve there, and as well as on frame 8, because from frame 18 to 21 it's going to read that as a hold, and it's just going to like, you have like a small kink, like it won't be as smooth, and you can almost feel it in the animation. So yeah, so I came back, looked at the hips, and then I was like, okay, but the torso was still the main problem. I mean, torso was the main issue. So I came, then I went to the Y quaternion rotation of it, and then I was like, aha, there it was. That's what the issue was, from frame 6 to 9, and from 18 to 21. There was kind of like a hold there, and you can almost feel it as it's rotating. So that's where the main problem was. I don't know how I skipped it the first time. I just don't think I was paying enough attention, because I was just a little bit nervous when recording the tutorial. But yeah, so I was like, okay, that actually feels a lot better. So like the Y quaternion rotation right there is just pretty okay, so that kind of fixed it. So this is how, guys, this is how you like clean up your graph editor. This is just like how you go. You just have to learn how to read the graphs, and then find out like where the kinks are. Later on I'm going to work on the feet, because they were kind of sliding on the X location of the controls, as you can see there. So this is on the left foot. As it's sliding down, it kind of, as it hits the ground, it slides. So I just deleted those, so it just goes straight back without sliding to the side. Same thing on the other side, on the right foot. But I made the mistake of like deleting those frames there, which should have been the opposite, because I wanted like further in. So I went back and deleted from frame 1 to 8, I believe, and then I raised that just so that it has like a flat, so that it flat lines and the feet don't slide anymore. And but then yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's pretty much all the cleanup I did, at least for this time. And then I went to no, that's not the last thing I did. I went around to the wrists. Yes, I wanted to adjust the wrist a little bit better, so I went to the X quaternion rotation of it. So never be afraid to just try it out, because you can always like just highlight the whole graph after isolating it. Highlight the graph, or select the name in the title bar on the left side. Select it. Once it's highlighted, Shift H. When the curve is isolated, you can just like just shake it, just like grab it and then move it up and down to see what it's really controlling. Because at times it's hard to tell, because some of these bones have like road orientation, others have like local orientation, and sometimes it's hard to tell. But then I think pros can actually like catch that on quick, catch it very quickly. Whereas for me, so as you can see on the other frames, I'm trying to overshoot it from frame 0 up to frame 3. I just kind of overshot the arm, just to give it like a more bend, just to give it a bend. So I did that on this side, and then I went to the other side and I did the same thing, just to give that slight overshoot. Because like remember, the hands are reacting to the torso. So at times, if you want to make like a good animation, find out what's reacting to what. When you figure out what's leading the action, find out, okay, what's reacting. Whatever is reacting, chances are it's going to be dragging. For example, if it's a tail on a cat, a dog, in this case, arms on the torso, with this action specifically, so it's like yeah. Remember, key thing about the walk cycle is that it's just everything is countering each other. If the chest is swinging left to right, the pelvis is swinging right to left. Everything is just like, if the left arm is in front, right arm will be at the back. Likewise with the feet, they're like opposing each other. The left arm and the right arm won't be at the same side at the same time. Otherwise, maybe unless you're trying to make something funny, I guess, for comedic timing and whatnot. But that's pretty much okay. So always have that in mind. Everything is countering each other. Make sure that you touch everything, every crucial part. Don't just leave things to to chance. Otherwise, it's gonna end up looking more stiff. So if the twist. I also had this issue where I'd rotate the center of gravity, which I don't think I'm supposed to do. But then when I started leaving that alone, just have you control the up down, side to side, and forward momentum of the character, it became easier for me. Like the walks looked a lot better, and yeah, again, like I say, this animation is rather exaggerated, but I feel like it serves the purpose of like what I was trying to kind of convey. So it's not the best animation there is, no, of course not. But then yeah, like also here there was like a slight kink, so I just came back to the Y location of this and then push it a little bit further so that it kind of eases back a little bit, because at time I was like, at first it was kind of like as we're going back, it goes forward again. So this is basically what it means to clean up your time graph. This is what it means to clean up your time graph. So I didn't plan on showing this part. I was just gonna like leave the animation, just show the final animation at the beginning of the video, and then but then I felt like that wouldn't have been fair enough. But then I think this is a good example of how you clean up your time graphs on like a simple work cycle. So don't let the graph editor intimidate you. No, don't let it intimidate you. Just select the controller you want from the dope sheet. Go to Control Tab to access the graph editor, and then isolate the one you want. Figure like, okay, which one do I want, and then just remember like what you did with that. Like eventually you start remembering, okay, I think I rotated this one, and then you go straight to the rotations of it. But okay, I didn't translate this one, so let me like ignore the location curves and just focus on the rotations if you didn't translate it like in any way like that. So yeah guys, so this is how I kind of clean up the animation. Could use a lot more work obviously, but animation is never done, but this is like far from good, but I feel like it serves the purpose enough. So that's just just remember that. Just remember these little tips and tricks. I hope it makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. This is my first one. I apologize. I'll definitely try to do better and improve. But thank you so much for watching the video. Leave a like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and let me know down in the comments below what you want to see next. Maybe I think next time we'll try doing a female walk cycle.